Hi, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Bible Talk with Dr. Steve. I'm Dr. Steve, and today we're going to continue with our short series on Isaiah chapter 7 with the specific intention of offering a fuller understanding of verse 14, which again states, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin will be with child and bear a son, and she will call his name Immanuel." In today's video, we are going to look at two important texts, Deuteronomy 18 and Isaiah 8, to see the impact these texts have on our understanding of Isaiah's prophecy in Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. Now, before we get started, please grab a piece of paper and something to write with, so later you can look up the passages we discussed if you want. Also, thanks again for all your comments. Please keep sending them in. And if you like the content of what I'm putting out, I really do appreciate you hitting the like button because it helps with the algorithm, which in turn helps to promote my channel. The more likes, the more the algorithm recommends my video. Also, if you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, which will let you know each time I put out a new video. Again, thank you for your support. So, let's look at Deuteronomy 18 to see the relationship Deuteronomy 18 has with the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14. We are going to focus ultimately on Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 20 to 22, but let's put them in their larger context. First of all, verses 20 to 22 are the final three verses in Deuteronomy 18. Deuteronomy 18 is near the middle of what is called the Deuteronomic Code, which is a collection of laws found in the book of Deuteronomy, chapters 12 to 26. Deuteronomy 18 can be split into three basic sections. Chapter 1 to 8, or verses 1 to 8, talk about the Levitical priests and their inheritance and give some information about their service to the Lord. The next section, verses 9 to 14, talk about not imitating the detestable practices of the nations who are living in the land that the Lord's people are about to take over. The final section includes verses 15 to 22. These verses are about prophets. Why do they seem to exist? What is their function? What is required of the people regarding the prophets? And how will the people know if the one claiming to be a prophet actually is a prophet of the Lord? Here are verses 20 to 22. Pay particular attention to verse 22. Okay, verse 20 reads, But the prophet who shall speak a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he shall speak in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die." To be clear, speaking presumptuously in this case means that a prophet is not supposed to say more than what the Lord has told him to say, or to take liberties with what the Lord has told him. So, in other words, prophet, speak only what God tells you to speak. Verse 21 reads, "And you, people of Israel, may say in your heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken?" Well, verse 22 tells them, when a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not come about or come true, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him. The impact Deuteronomy 18, 20 to 22 has on Isaiah's prophecy regarding Immanuel is that if what Isaiah prophesies does not come true, then Isaiah is a false prophet. The Lord's people are told not to listen to that one. This warning puts a particular burden on Isaiah because in Isaiah chapter 7, verses 14 to 16, Isaiah prophesies that not only will a child be born, but before that child knows enough to refuse evil and choose good, the kings of Aram and Israel will be forsaken. History tells us that the kingdom of Aram, roughly modern Syria, was conquered around 732 BCE, and the northern kingdom of Israel was destroyed about 10 years later. Isaiah 7 can take place no earlier than 735 BCE because Ahaz's reign was between about 735 to 715 BCE. If the mother of Immanuel got pregnant immediately after this prophecy, Immanuel would be about 12 by the time both of these kingdoms were destroyed, which fits the timeline of the prophecy. If one argues that Immanuel is actually Jesus, Jesus isn't born for another 700 years, which would mean that Isaiah is a prophet who had spoken presumptuously or falsely, and the people of God are commanded not to listen to such a false prophet. Now, just to be clear, I do not think Isaiah was a false prophet. So, Deuteronomy 18:22 prohibits Jesus from being this prophesied child Immanuel in Isaiah 7:14 to 16, at least in the first instance. That is, no one in Isaiah's day would have believed Immanuel was anyone except someone born within a few years, at the most, from the time of Isaiah's prophecy. Now, let's take a look at Isaiah chapter 8 and see what the text can offer to help us better understand who Isaiah's prophesied child, Immanuel, is. What do we learn immediately in Isaiah chapter 8, verses 1 to 3? We learn that Isaiah has yet another child, Maher-shalal-hash-baz, which means swift as the booty, speedy the prey. Verse 4 shows us that this child, similar to the other two children mentioned in Isaiah 7, She'ar-Yashuv and Immanuel, also serves as a sign and a wonder in Israel. Chapter 8, verse 18 confirms this. It reads, "Behold, I," that is Isaiah, "and the children whom the Lord has given me for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, the children given me are for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwells on Mount Zion." This opens up the possibility that not only She'ar-Yashuv, who is obviously Isaiah's son, but also Immanuel, may also be Isaiah's child. Now, this is not explicitly stated in the text, but all three of these children are mentioned within this context, and we explicitly know that She'ar-Yashuv and Maher-shalal-hash-baz are Isaiah's kids. It would make sense within the context of Isaiah 7 and 8 that Immanuel is also Isaiah's child. Further, because the virgin, Alma in Hebrew, which has a definite article, the virgin, does not necessarily mean a woman who has not yet had sex. There is nothing in the text to prohibit her from being Isaiah's wife, because Alma can also mean simply a young woman. The same holds true for the Greek word parthenos, which is the word used in the Septuagint to translate Alma. Parthenos does not exclusively refer to someone who has not yet had sex. You can see that in Genesis chapter 34, verse 3, where Dinah, after having been raped, which is terrible, by Shechem in verse 2, is still referred to in verse 3 as a parthenos, and Dinah is referred to as a parthenos twice. So, what have we learned today? From Isaiah 8, we learn that Isaiah and his children are for signs and wonders. We saw that the first child in Isaiah 7:3, She'ar-Yashuv, was assigned to Ahaz to trust the Lord that a remnant will return. Ahaz was to trust the Lord rather than in a man, specifically in the king of Assyria. We saw the second child in Isaiah 7:14, Immanuel, was also given as a sign and again given to King Ahaz. Ahaz was to trust the Lord, and further by trusting his prophet Isaiah, and what he said would indeed come to pass. We learned from Deuteronomy 18:22 that if Immanuel does not refer to a child within the immediate lifetime of King Ahaz, specifically before the kingdoms of Aram and Israel were destroyed, which happened to both over 700 years before Jesus was even born, then not only is Isaiah's prophecy false, but Isaiah is a false prophet as well. And that, I will continue to argue, is not the case. Now, in our next and fourth video, we will finish up with the Isaiah text and show how Isaiah's ministry overlaps into Jesus' ministry. To do this, we will explore the connection between Matthew 13 and Isaiah 6 and how those texts impact a proper interpretation of Isaiah 7:14. Okay? So that's going to do it for today. Please remember to hit the like button if you are enjoying these videos, and if you aren't already a subscriber, please do subscribe. It helps my channel and I really do appreciate it. Also, please feel free to leave any comments. I'm grateful for your feedback. For now, thank you for joining me. I'm Dr. Steve, and this has been Bible Talk with Dr. Steve.